Hello and welcome back. My name is Will, I'm the host of the Board Book Geek, and we need to talk about Star Wars The Acolyte, since people keep pestering me. So I downloaded and watched those episodes. Things I do for you people. Where do we start with this? First, this show purely exists for people on Twitter. This show is weak. And it's got a lot of good ideas, but they're not done very well. But let's talk about it. Star Wars as a franchise is basically dead in the water. There is no if, buts and maybes, and that Disney have failed to make the money back for their show. Watching those first few episodes was not great, to say the least, on the subject. And it felt like a disjointed, badly paced mess in places. The IMDb reviews speak for themselves, calling it Disney Why, Star Wars a galactic failure. And the gaslighting of people behind it and some of the comments the actors have made have left a bitter taste in some people's mouths. But we're not going to get into that, because there's loads of videos that will do that for you. My biggest bugbear with this is it feels like another wasted opportunity. I remember having the Star Wars VHSs when I was a kid, and complete glee and excitement, and despite the flaws, at least the prequel trilogy, despite Episode 1, feel like Star Wars. This doesn't. And yes, before everyone says it, High Republic, 100 years before the films. But come on. Disney, you bought the rights to one of the greatest franchises. Yeah, you're failing to make money on it, the audience scores are pitiful. And if you want the honest truth, the storytelling and writing of your series has kind of gone downhill, and it seems to get worse with every iteration. The storyline of these episodes felt convoluted and poorly structured. It seemed trying way too hard to be mysterious and complex, but instead ended up being confused and disjointed. The characters should be a heart of any Star Wars story, and if you want the honest truth, in these few episodes they lacked depth and felt underdeveloped. You should be able to connect with a character from the get-go, and I know people hate it when I use that phrasing. The lack of originality is telling, and this is across the board with things Disney have done with Star Wars, borrowing very heavily from the extended universe. It just feels like another lazy attempt to cash in on the franchise's popularity rather than a sincere effort to expand the universe. The dialogue was often cringeworthy, filled with cliché lines and awkward exchanges, and I'm pretty sure the actors did their best with the material they were given, but talented performers couldn't save a poorly written script. It often results in very wooden performances that lack any emotional authenticity. I feel like with Star Wars, you have a series, you have something that is iconic in so many ways. But Disney seem unable to create anything new or original. It's lackluster at best and lazy at worst, and that really shows. There are so many directions they could have taken this show, and so many things they could have done. They intentionally chose a prequel to get away from the Disney canon. But the only good thing Disney have really done, if you want, in my humble opinion, if you look at consistency of storytelling, is Rogue One. That's it. Disney seem unable to settle on a style or even create something cohesive. The thing about Star Wars is it's always been very character driven. Beautiful special effects and much more, but Disney are lazy, and it again shows. Create a show that is purely designed for the Twitterati, people that care more about social issues than being entertained, and people that will rally against any movies, even Bad Boys, the newest one, which has done very well because it doesn't talk about social issues. Why should it? Why should we be forced to sit through a 2-hour lecture or a 20-episode lecture on everything? Why can we not just switch off and escape from a twisted reality that we live in? Star Wars is purely content for a streaming service which is steadily losing subscribers, steadily losing people, steadily losing any interest for the general audience. Disney don't know what they're doing, and Kathleen Kennedy is a talentless hack, and it goes to show. Instead of fixing the problems, they double down on it. And I think people are genuinely sick of being lectured and being told they're evil for not liking something or not wanting to do something or not enjoying a show. At the end of the day, you can't just create more soulless entertainment that is designed to appeal to people that think a wheelchair in Dungeons and Dragons is entertaining. It goes to show. Recent Star Trek efforts have been disjointed and horrible, and that god-awful end of Discovery, a series that had good ideas but was let down by poor execution. Again, this goes to show within this series. Good ideas let down by poor execution. It's like Disney have a base, but once they have that base, they decide to let what feels like AI, and it's probably not AI, but God knows at this point, write a script that is lackluster and unoriginal. As a long-time fan, it's sad seeing things go down this route, and I just want to be entertained. And before everyone says it, yeah, switch your brain off and enjoy the pretty colours, great. But what about story? What about characters? I don't want to sit through 4 hours of special effects, or 8 hours, 12 hours. And Disney are notoriously lazy with them anyway. The Acolyte is another prime example of lazy, unoriginal content created by Disney, and that's it. The Acolyte is just a false ghost of its former glory, and honestly, Disney need to can Star Wars, because no one cares anymore other than like 7 people on Twitter and her multiple her 7 personalities on Twitter and her multiple cats. Unoriginal, boring, generic content. Watch some fan films. Watch some independently created stuff. Read some independent books. Disney should never have had the monopoly that they do, and I'm surprised they do anyway. And it's a shame. I will leave this here. All of my links and info are down below, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.